Welcome to the Burrillville School Committee, August 14th, 2018, 6:30 p.m. regular session, Burrillville High School Media Center, 425 East Avenue, Harrisville, Rhode Island. Members present, all with the exception of Mr. Kamajian, who is excused. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chair, would you introduce the student council?
Yes, I'd like to introduce the Student Council Liaison, Mackenzie Raymond. I got it, all right?
Welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Nice to have you back, Mackenzie.
Item 2, recognition, having none this evening. Item 3, consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the minutes of July 10th, 2018, regular meeting. Warrant number 1 for the month of July, dated August 14th, 2018, in the amount of $1,917,847.46. And there are no bids.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing discussion?
I would just like to abstain from the meeting minutes. I wasn't present last month.
Okay. But the warrant you're good for?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item, presentations by the public to the school committee. Our first people up will be the solar energy presentation by Train.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Leo McNeil. I'm with the Train Company. That's my able colleague, Yazu Chauhan, who just set up the projection for us. So we've got a brief presentation on how Burrillville School Department can implement beneficial renewable energy systems and facility improvements that are funded with guaranteed energy savings. So a brief presentation. So first about Train. We're a global leader in the manufacture of HVAC equipment and controls. The company's been around approximately 120 years. You may have heard of Train. It's hard to stop a train, T-R-A-N-E. On average, one of Train's air conditioning units is installed every minute of every day, just to give you an idea of the size and scope of our company. And we're a business of the $14 billion Ingersoll Rand Corporation. So in addition to our leadership in providing HVAC and controls, we're also what's known as a leading energy services provider. So our comprehensive energy service offerings include things such as shown here, combined heat and power plants, energy storage, renewable energy and power solutions, comprehensive energy management systems and services, building controls and automation, energy contracting, energy procurement and management, and we've completed nearly or over $1 billion in comprehensive projects to date as part of that portfolio. So how did we get here? Well, we've completed, my energy services team and I have completed a highly visible project at the nearby Dighton and Rehoboth Regional School District in Massachusetts. Among the many things installed there were a series of Carport solar canopies in the parking lots of the school. And Bill Robinson happened to observe these systems, went and visited and spoke with the people at Dighton and Rehoboth about them, and then reached out and contacted Train. So we've been meeting with Bill and various others from the school department since, I think, March 2018 to explore whether or not, in fact, Burrillville can benefit from the same type of an approach, meaning installing renewable solar systems at the schools to reduce the cost of operations and create power on site to be used in the schools, in addition to creating a clean energy educational opportunity for the students. So we're pleased to report that, yes, you can. And we wanted to give you a snapshot of what a solar carport looks like. Here's some examples of carports that are just down the road at Dighton, Rehoboth. It's actually not that far a drive if you ever care to drive over there and look at them, but they're essentially solar panels installed on carports in the parking lot. That's what one looks like. Here's a side shot of another. And again, these panels are making power that's being used directly in the schools. There's 3 different arrays, if you could see, at the high school. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, front to back. They all face south to capture maximum solar exposure and maximum power output. This is a rather innovative approach that was contoured to meet the landscape beneath it. So people tend to like that one. It's a rather innovative look. And what you see in the upper left column there is the installation of the arrays in progress. That's obviously the steel in place before the panels were placed upon it, but the finished product is on the right. So that's just an example of what solar carports look like. Now, the way we do this is through a vehicle called performance contracting, where Trane enables our customers to use future energy savings to pay for the cost of energy savings projects, thus eliminating the need to dip into capital budgets. And then most importantly, we guarantee the resultant energy savings from the projects that we do. So it's typical for people to work with us to develop a scope of projects that meet your local needs, finance those, or pay capital, whichever is most convenient, and then use the resultant energy savings to pay for the projects over time. Again, the key being the Trane guarantees those, and if the savings don't come about, we'll write a shortfall check. So as part of our single source accountability and as a performance contractor, these are the things that are typically done by individuals that we consolidate in one turnkey agreement. Project planning, facilitate financing, design engineering, and then it moves through into project management and installation of the project that we develop together, commission that project, train your staff, provide maintenance, service, and of course guaranteed savings over the term. Just a org chart to show kind of how it works. We work directly for you. We'll help to obtain any and all grants and rebates that are available, help to assemble structured financing to meet your needs, and then the things on the bottom are just examples of the types of things we could do. Again, for the time being, Burrillville's school department's primary interest is with renewable solar panels. So we've taken some preliminary assessments and talked about possibilities here throughout the district. This is one example of a project that's available to you. We could install a carport at the middle school that would be sized at 294 kW. Excuse me. That would generate approximately 90% of the power used by the middle school. That could be financed 100% by an independent third party or capitalized at your option. But the 20-year positive cash flow, if it were a financed opportunity, would be over $300,000. That's after the systems are paid for. That's positive cash flow to the district. So essentially you've made 90% of your power for that 20-year term and used it right in the school where it's made. The 30-year positive cash flow available from just that one example project is over $1.4 million over the term. So it's clearly an opportunity available to your district to make power on site, use it in your schools, and generate positive cash flow. This is just a snapshot of an example of where a carport array could go in the middle school parking lot. You can see where it is there at the bottom right of your screen. That blue square is the initial proposed location. So again, these are all preliminary assessments. Our next steps, if interested, would be to move forward, work with the appropriate stakeholders from the schools and the town, if appropriate, and go through a series of siting options and the corresponding numbers and values that come along with it until we develop the project that meets everybody's needs and wants. So the benefits to Burrillville would be these: would reduce the operating costs substantially, generate 90% of the power used at the middle school on site, generate a positive cash flow, as I mentioned, over $1.4 million over the life of the system, and demonstrate sound fiscal, environmental, and social stewardship. Also, you'd substantially reduce your environmental footprint. Obviously, it's much more friendly to the environment to make your own power on site than it is to buy it from a utility where it's generated from a fossil fuel plant. You'd also avoid future increases in the cost of purchased electricity. So if you picture over the next 20 or 30 years as the cost to buy power steadily increases, which everybody thinks it will, yours will remain constant because you'll be making it here on site. So you avoid all those future increases in cost. Lastly, but perhaps not least, is there's an excellent opportunity here for an educational opportunity for the students. Typically, our clients have an LED display in the lobby of the school or on your intranet or in classrooms that demonstrate, and I'll give you an example of what some of these look like. From a live solar array that shows what power production is happening right now. I think I made these last Thursday, so you'll see this looks like it's through July. But this is an example of the power production that occurred over at this one particular school. I think it says Palmer River Elementary School over at Dighton, Rehoboth on those days through July. You could also take a look at it this way. This is a typical day. You can note from 9 a.m., which is on the left side, through 11 a.m. and noontime when the power peaks, understandably as the sun is highest in the day during the middle of the day, and then goes down toward the end of the day. You can see I made this at 5 p.m. last Thursday, which is when I took that picture of the screen. But this would be available to you for the solar arrays in your district. Here's another image of the gauge that's showing the actual amount of power being made at any given time. Another thing, I mentioned the environmental impact earlier. This program shows the actual environmental impact that's being offset by the solar generation. In this example, you can see barrels of oil offset, or number of households powered, or number of trees saved. So where are we now? We're prepared to work with Burrillville moving forward to design and develop project details and come up with specific locations for the arrays, to also deliver a self-funding project with positive cash flow. And it's a successful, proven performance contracting model that we've used worldwide. This would be the process in just a proposed timeline. This is in no way a requirement. It's just a suggestion of what's doable from our side. The next step would be to develop a memorandum of understanding to work with us to develop the projects that are of interest to you. We would develop the scope of the project, whether it's roof or carport or siting, location and fields, where have you. These panels can go in any of those locations. We'd finalize design September through November. As an example, again, and execute contract documents in December. You could be making power by April of 2019.
It's hard to pay attention if I'm sweating.
Or freezing. I can't learn if I can't hear my teacher.
I need a concentrate.
It's hard to pay attention if I'm sweating.
Or freezing. I can't learn if I can't hear my teacher.
I need to concentrate on my spelling, not my asthma. Train can help.
That's what they do. They help us do big things.
Huge! Like making sure we take care of the planet. Showing us that even kids can make a difference.
Teaching us about science,
Technology.
engineering.
Math.
I don't like math, but I'm good at it.
Providing us with enterprise-level control over
Over all our buildings.
Train also helps schools get the equipment they need and create high-performance classrooms.
At least that's what my principal says.
Train's new equipment uses less energy.
It's so efficient.
You can pay for it with the money you save.
That means you can invest in other cool things, like me and my education. And Train works with U.S. communities.
So the whole thing is super easy. I'm only a second grader, but that sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
To learn more, go to train.com/K12.
Train, making buildings better for life.
I like that. Kids say it better than me, but the point is you're well positioned to save energy and improve the environment at the same time, and would look forward to the opportunity to work with you. So with that, I guess that's all I had.
Do any committee members have any questions from Mr. McNeil? Dot?
What's the life expectancy of a system like that?
30 years is the projected system life.
So in 30 years, we'd have to look at replacing.
You could. Yep, 30 years. But 30 years is a long time. The thing is, the economic benefits that would accrue to the community in the interim are usually the things that drive the decision. And like anything, it's like the phone you may have. If you have a smartphone or a computer, technology marches on. But it's usually an opportunity to, in fact, do better. So the fact is, if we know in advance what this system will do over 30 years, which we do, we can take that to the bank, so to speak, and then if there's new technology in the future, we can improve on it.
Now, the financing of a project like this, would be paid through the savings that we make via the electrical savings that we make each month?
Correct, yes.
That's how it would be paid for?
Typically, yep.
Can you give me an idea of what a project like that initially costs?
The project that we just looked at, the representative sample project at the middle school, is, I think, just shy of $1 million in cost for us to design and install that. And I think financed at an average rate of 3.75% as a ballpark over, say, a 20-year term, it would produce the cash flow figures we showed, which is $300,000 in positive cash flow over the term. Our role in that, by the way, is we produce the designs of the systems and then provide a fixed firm cost to install them, and then also identify what the guaranteed savings level is. The financing will work closely with you or the town or whoever makes the financial decisions. Some folks pay for these projects with capital on hand, or some portion of the project with capital on hand, or may finance, or there's lease purchase arrangements, bond funding. There's a variety of ways to do it. Our role is to help you to understand the rest of the equation and then work with you to determine the optimal funding. Funding typically occurs by independent third-party banks.
All right.
Sylvia? Oh, you done that?
My concern is you have the timeline between December and April, which would be when you're building it. It's right in the middle of the school year.
We can wait. That's an example timeline.
Okay.
We just built several during school at Dighton Rehoboth, by the way, and we understand the impact on operations, and we do our best to stay out of your way. In fact, we make sure to stay out of your way. We know it's important. But yeah, certainly if it's the collective wish of the community to wait and do the work during the summer, we could certainly do that.
How long?
Dighton, we use 20 parking space. We blocked 20 parking space. So we did not took away so many parking space. They gave us 20 parking space, but we did work during the school year.
And didn't affect the
Not at all.
school?
No. In fact, we did it during the dead of winter, including digging the ground and pouring the footings and erecting the steel. I think we started, was it November?
Yeah.
November in that range.
December was the start date. But we did the entire project through the winter.
How long? It was about a 4-month process?
Yeah, we're still 2 weeks away from finishing the last one, the high school one. Like everything is done, we just have to turn on the switch for high school. So it took probably 6 months by the time it will be done, 6, 7 months.
That was a much larger, in terms of electrical capacity, that was about 1.2 megawatts of combined power. This is about 294 kW, or about 1/5 of that, but it's all scalable. But we get the whole operations and interruption thing. We work in school districts all the time. So whatever it is that we do, we'll do it without operating, interrupting your operations.
Okay.
One
And-
more question?
Yes, Don.
What about safety issues? Are there any safety issues? Because this would be on school property where there are a lot of children.
Right.
Are there any?
Always with construction, we need to establish some separation of space between the students and, the contractor and the actual work going on, and we do that. Our company has got a huge commitment to safety as a publicly traded company, where it's a huge priority for us. We have safety programs and safety officers who will come out at the beginning of the project and work directly with Bill and others to map out a safety plan to make sure that everything's the way it needs to be.
There's no ongoing issues that could create a safety with, we'll say, the air around it?
None that I could think of,
Okay.
no.
Anyone else? Donaldson?
Is there any disparity, say, between the production of the power, which seems to take place primarily during summer months with a higher sun angle, and the school year, which takes place fall, winter, spring? Are your numbers based on the assumption the power supplier would purchase that power back from us at a certain rate? And is that subject to variability? Are they subject to maybe make changes in what they would pay for that purchase back of power?
So you have two different utilities serving your national grid and the Pasco folks, and each of them have different values that they will pay for power produced in their territory. So this particular example project that we've shown tonight, I think, is in the National Grid territory. We've had conversations with the general manager of your local municipal utility. He's very interested in the project, but he's also regulated as to the amount that he can pay for net metering, it's called, which is the power that's produced here on site. And it's substantially less than what is available from National Grid. So that would be part of our operating, sessions moving forward, is to establish the best locations that produce the best, not only energy, but economic results for the district. But in terms of the modeling and the differences of the sun angles and the time of year, that's all built into our calculations. The solar development programs that we use acknowledge the differences in the seasons and the amount of sun and the power available. And lastly, we're not sizing these arrays to produce more power than you use in the buildings. The idea is to use the power in the buildings and very rarely, if ever, have excess. But in either case, there'd be payments available from the local utility for power produced here as compared to power purchased from the grid.
Well, there's a net metering program, a comprehensive net metering program for National Grid. So they give you the same amount of money back that you pay to them. So it's like except like customer charge and stuff like that. So generally you get 92% of your money back if you export back to the grid, and that is limited to 125% of your usage. So there are summer vacation, you may export more than 125%, but they will pay you whatever the wholesale market rate for anything above that, and everything is included in our analysis.
Excellent.
But, it is pretty good net metering program for National Grid. So
And is that something you could get locked in with them over a period of time when you?
It's a legislation through the state, so once you do it, you lock in for the life of the system. They may change the program after 5 years, but that only if anything you do after 5 years. If you put a new system after 5 years, then
So
new program
so
will
what you're
apply.
saying is the excess,
They will give you the credit back.
they will pay us because we're going to be selling it to National Grid for them to use.
And if like right now your bill is $100 and you produce the power for $125, they will carry over the $25 to the next month's bill. So that will be they will look at for the entire year. So you're not gonna pay anything extra. Like they will take the credit next month's bill, so you're not gonna lose anything.
So in December, you may have some benefit from the summer that's carried over.
Okay. But that's not the case for ASCO because it's a local municipal electric, so they have a different program.
Anyone else?
Mark? Yeah, so you guys are gonna take on the interconnection charges? The National Grid's gonna, because their interconnection charges may change dramatically once you come with this project.
Well,
Their charges go up and down considering how much we're gonna push back onto the system and what upgrades they're gonna need on their lines to do it. So all that charges are gonna be
our role is to help you.
rolled into this project.
Yeah, our role is to help you develop all of those, because as you say, they're unique to your project based on what you're interconnecting. So
Right.
we'd have to design the system first.
And depending on who's interconnected in our immediate area, which
Then they determine what, if any, repairs or upgrades they need to make to their infrastructure to accommodate this renewable plant. And then they determine what interconnection fees might be available. But yes, we'll work to help you define all
the
of that.
positive cash flow is including what we're selling back on the net metering?
Yes.
Okay, that's all part of it?
Yep.
And it's also including our lowering of our electric bill
Yes.
as well? All
Yes.
that is all combined in that
Yep.
300,000 and 1.4 million?
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, those are preliminary projections without having gone through any of the not the net metering, but the interconnection details or any of that yet.
And my next question would be, why, I know Trane had a lot of proprietary systems with their controls on their HVAC stuff, so where is your proprietary, do you have a lot of proprietary stuff in this? If we needed to change out an inverter, or we needed to change out a control system, is it a plug-and-play system, or?
We're using
Because, I just know Trane used to be great for initial price and then maintenance of that equipment. Since it was proprietary, you had to use Trane equipment until, recently. So.
I don't know, I'm not sure that I agree with that assessment, honestly, but I think there are a lot of
my
manufacturers.
HVAC engineer that sits on the side of me that's what he would tell me.
Well, Trane's been around for 120 years. I think there's a pretty good reason for that. And the guaranteed savings nature of these projects tends to speak for itself. But there are no proprietary components of these renewable systems at all.
Okay.
We use tier 1 manufacturers for both the panels and the inverters.
Okay.
Like those inverters comes with 10-year warranty, and those solar panels also comes with 10-year warranty. So any manufacturing defect with inverter or solar panels within 10 years, they will supply you without any cost. And those inverters, you can use any inverters. If you use SMA inverters and you want to use someone else's inverters for the same size, you can replace with there's nothing.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Yep.
That you have to use the same inverter. You can change it with different inverters. And this system lasts 30 years, but after 30 years, those steels can last for 50 years, so you can just put a new panel. And you can reuse the same infrastructure. You don't have to change the column and steel. They gonna last for probably 50 years, 100 years, depending on maintenance.
Okay?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Just one more quick one off that. I think you kind of answered my question about, but is there a policy for removal of the structure at the end of its life? Should we decide that this is not something we wanted to upgrade, or is that on us at that point to remove the?
Solar panel, even after 30 years, they're gonna still produce power, but it may produce 40% or 30% of power than year one. So you're still gonna get some power even after 30 years. But it's like a LED light bulb; they never fail. They say the life of LED light bulb is 10 years because they will produce only 70% of light output after 10 years. The same with the solar panel. They will keep producing power, but after 30 years, they may produce 50% power. So they will still produce power after 30 years. Maybe at 50 years, they may produce zero power. So they say the life of the solar panel is 30 years because they will still produce power, but maybe 50% power.
Yeah, but in terms of the structure, if we wanted to get rid of it, that's on us.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Do you
Go ahead, Sophie.
do you build in vandal proofing? Because it'll be an attractive nuisance in the parking lot at the middle school, and we still have kids that are climbing the water tower in town.
How sad.
That's an interesting
Yes,
thought.
no?
Well, so I imagine you'll have insurance on the property just like the rest of your property. I wouldn't know how to begin to estimate vandal proofing. We haven't had that problem occur in the other situations with installed projects, so I don't know how to address it. I mean, I'm open-minded on the topic, but I don't know what to say. That typically our project is we'll design and build these systems and install them, and here are the guaranteed outcomes of them and the economic and environmental benefits, and we hope nobody destroys them.
How many schools have you done?
Thousands of schools throughout
And no
North America. I haven't had any problems. We do performance contracts everywhere. We've done nearly $100 million in performance contracts in Massachusetts alone and nearby throughout New England. So, yeah, I haven't had that come up.
So with this said, the buildings are town-owned buildings, and the details of upfront costs or contracts and all that needs to be discussed with the town council. So I would entertain a motion that we refer to the town council with our facilities director as our representative, and he can report back to us as it progresses.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
We have one.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
May I suggest that you schedule a town workshop so they may discuss this with the town rather than have it just brought to the town council?
A workshop with Train in the town council?
Train the town council and school committee. So if there's any questions, they may answer any questions the town council may have before you bring it forward tonight.
Sure, that's fine.
I'll amend my motion.
Okay.
That it be a workshop.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Item 5, public comment. Anyone wishing to speak this evening? Having none. Item 6, personnel. Appointments, leaves of absence, retirements, resignations.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the following resignation. Lauren Taylor, teacher assistant, William L. Callahan, effective August 7th, 2018.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the following appointments. Gail Jarvis, Administrative Secretary, 1 year only at Steer Farm, effective August 15th, 2018. Carrie Hebert, Part-time Clerk, Administrative Office, effective August 20th, 2018, Step 1 of salary scale. Nick Green, District Head Custodian, effective 8/15, so August 15th, 2018, $5,500 prorated. Linda Therian, Guidance Secretary, 1 year only at the middle school, effective August 15th, 2018. Linda Therian, Summer Guidance Work, 3 days at contractual rate. Karen Raglan, .2 English language learner for the district, effective for the 2018-2019 school year. And Susan Shields, Teacher Assistant, Burrillville Middle School, 1 year only, effective for the 2018-2019 school year.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the following appointments for athletics for the 2018-2019 school year. John Abadi, Athletic Director, $10,150 plus $400 longevity. Eric Tupper, Assistant Athletic Director, $2,000 plus $200 longevity. Eric Tupper, Lacrosse Head Coach for Burrillville High School, $2,387 plus $200 longevity. Stephen Pesci, Junior Varsity Football Head Coach for Burrillville High School, for $2,040.50 plus $500 longevity. Susan Burgess, Field Hockey Head Coach for Burrillville High School, $2,387 plus $500 longevity. Christina Ivorone, Field Hockey Assistant Coach, Burrillville High School, for $1,908.50. And Brandon Reef, Football Assistant for Burrillville High School as a volunteer.
Did we have an added one?
And with the addition of Marty Crawley, the assistant coach for the boys and girls cross-country teams at the high school, for $1,485 plus $500 longevity.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item, fiscal year 2018 BSD budget update.
Motion to open?
Second.
Motion open to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So currently at this point, the school department's going to oversee the fiscal year with an estimated cost of approximately $102,000, of which that the vote that you took last school committee meeting will reduce that amount by $50,000 because you established the funds for the unemployment, the contingency fund.
Thank you. Next item, fiscal year 18 rink budget update.
Motion to open?
Motion
Second.
open and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, as reflected on the green sheets that you have before you, the rink surplus for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018 is estimated to be at approximately $88,000.
Robert, that's surplus for the year or the total?
That's for the year. That
Okay.
does not take into consideration the surplus that's been accumulated for.
Okay, can you tell us what that is up to date?
I cannot right now, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can
Okay,
certainly
next
email it
meeting?
to you.
Next meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, one question if I could. Just, I noticed the vehicle and equipment number shows a substantial increase for the 19 appropriations. Is there another, maybe Chris, you could probably answer that.
No, I can, that's
yeah.
for the lease, for the ice resurfacing machine.
Oh, yeah,
So the reason you don't see it in fiscal year 18 is because it's really more of accounting entry, that we reduce our accounts, the lease payable amount rather than the expense. So he did start paying that last year. It just shows
Thank you. Next item, 8, Superintendents Report.
Motion to open.
Second.
Motion to open the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chair Brazard. Just a few things to report this month. On Wednesday and Thursday of last week, we held our administrative retreat. It was at Crystal Lake Golf Course. They were nice enough to host the event, and it was excellent to get together with the district and building level administrators and collaborate on a number of district initiatives that we have planned coming forward. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Mayu for organizing it. It was very well run. We talked about a number of topics, including evaluations, data meetings, district communication, opening day plans, safety protocols, and overall goals for the district for the year. So it was wonderful just to interact as a team and get a chance to really get our hands dirty, if you will, with some of the initiatives that we're looking forward to push this year. And just as a note, it's been a very busy time at central office. We had 64 new student registrations throughout the summer. So I wanted to mention that. It's has increased some class sizes, but overall we're in pretty good shape. So the number stands at 64 for new registrations, which I think is pretty high. And hopefully the schedules will balance out as we prepare for the
Approximately how many of those are for Levy School?
Of the total registration, I don't know, not off the top of my head, but I can certainly get that.
Next month?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
And then finally, we'll be having an administrative team meeting next week to finalize plans for the opening of the school year, make sure that everyone is on track for a smooth opening to the school year.
Great. Anyone have any questions? Okay. Next item, administrators' reports. We will have none. We're on summer break for the administrative reports. Item 10, reports of school committee subcommittees. Anyone have anything to report? No. Okay, everybody's on summer break. Item 11, correspondence, communications. I think it's the first month I don't have anything in like 2 years.
Summertime.
It's summertime for sure. Item 12, new business. First item, approved fiscal year 2018 budgets, 19 budgets for BSD and Levy Rig.
So moved. To approve the budgets for fiscal year 2019 for the Burrillville School Department and the Levy Rink.
Second.
Have a motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bus routes for 2018-2019.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve as presented. Any discussion?
Just a quick question on the, that includes, there was a bus route that was eliminated, is that true? Did that actually, it was, right, okay.
I just have a concern. I was looking at the times, and some bus routes are 25 minutes and other bus routes are 75 minutes. And I'm just wondering if somehow that can be evened out.
That's a question for Robin.
I think they've been like that.
Yeah.
Certainly ask them. Do you have particular buses?
I can get them. I'll look for them.
Okay.
You can send her an email.
Oh, I'll send you an email. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we'll have, everyone can have an answer on that next month. We're gonna have a big agenda next month.
September agenda.
Okay, so no more questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve homeschool applications.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item, School Building Authority capital funds for high priority and school safety projects. Mr. Robinson has a quick video of the 3M security system, and then we'll have a few questions.
just arrived.
Tired.
I was tired like 20 kicks ago.
I would like to get somebody who could actually kick up here though. This guy looks like he's kicking a little weakly.
He's getting tired, that's for sure. If he was smart, he'd use the butt up. There he goes.
Have you done this before, Dot?
No, but I've seen films on school safety and definitely more effective. Well, he had weakened it with the firearm itself.
But this time he doesn't have much energy left, right?
Lisa there.
The whole idea of the security film is obviously I can see it's not going to stop bullets. What it does, it slows the intruder from coming into the building.
So again with this, these are school buildings, and there's a cost involved with this. It does come with a 57% reimbursement of the cost from RIDE. So I again would entertain a motion to send this to the town council for consideration. We are on a time deadline, September 12th, I think, for the application. So we could have Mr. Robinson present this to the council. I think we don't need a group meeting for this one.
No.
Okay, great.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any discussion?
I just a question about some of the other aspects of what you're including in that process. The swipe card system, I guess, is kind of antiquated. Is that?
Well, it would upgrade it. Also, what we have is we have just a swipe in right now, and what this will do is it will upgrade the swipe cards throughout the district. One of the things we've been working together with the police. And one of the things, if you end up with an intruder into the building, what we want to do is know who's in the building. And right now, every teacher that comes in has to log in. When you have a swipe in, swipe out system, what you have is you don't have to no longer log in. You have to swipe in and swipe out of the building. And so the security, the access control upgrades our firmware, upgrades our software. And now when people swipe in, if we have to have a lockdown, what we can do is you can go onto the computer and you can do a printout real quickly of who's in the building right away. And also with the swipe in, swipe out systems, you swipe in, you don't swipe out, you can't swipe back in. You actually have to ring the buzzer or do whatever to get back in the building. It's an accountability thing also.
Sure. And then one piggyback on that, the new mandates from the state that require percentages that increase year over year for building maintenance, does this fall under that requirement as well? Or?
We had a meeting, a phone meeting with RIDE not too long ago, and there's some, believe it or not, they don't have all the answers for us.
Surprise.
We had Dr. Friedel, Robin, myself, we sat in on a phone conversation with RIDE, and those were some of the questions that did come up in the meeting, and believe it or not, they didn't have answers.
I believe it.
Yeah, I will say though, with this submission, the 57% reimbursement is immediate. It's immediate reimbursement. It's not, you don't have to wait till the work's completed or jump through as many hoops as they normally would.
That's good too.
We were working with the police. Believe it or not, we were working on all these different upgrades, and then all of a sudden it was announced with the $10 million you seen on the news with the governor, and this fell right into it. So we were, I was going to approach the town anyway with the total cost, and this kind of fell in our lap to see if we could get the 56.7%.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee RIDE's going to give us that money, but we definitely should apply for it.
Sure.
And the total cost being?
The total cost is around 215 plus the bond, and then 215, 230, well, $235,000, $40,000, but the reimbursement from the town, the town's total cost, RIDE will make the town's total cost about $111. RIDE won't reimburse you, believe it or not, on the camera itself, just the infrastructure. That's why I separated it in the summary.
Great. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item, committee on agenda items. Anyone? Hearing none. Item 14, pending issues. Levy Rink construction project update. Great. And so you're thinking the project would be complete for opening of school?
We're hoping that it'll be done, I promise you, when the girls need to use that room. Because we do not want issues.
November.
Or phone calls.
November. Okay.
Yeah, shoot for mid-November, early November, when the season starts.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you. Item 15.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.